Thanks, JR, and good evening on a Friday night. Interstate 71 connects Cincinnati, Ohio, and Louisville, Kentucky. 100 miles separate the two. Located in between Sparta, Kentucky, home to Kentucky Speedway, which tonight plays host to the ARCA Racing Series presented by Menards.
The Commonwealth of Kentucky, home of the fastest 2 minutes in sports. But this weekend, a thoroughbred of a different kind hits the track. Kentucky Speedway hosts the ARCA Racing Series. Consistency has paid off for one engine jockey. Mason Mitchell is rarely first to the line, but he's often second.
Really wanted to win bad. You know, we've been so close this year, and I tried really hard there, but, you know, we'll finish second, I guess.
No one has more wins this season than Grant Enfinger. Enfinger's gonna win it here! Another checkered flag, and this pony is one step closer to the title. Tonight, there's no holding back. Performance is mandatory. And in this run for the Roses, the lead horse in the championship will be determined. Win, place, or show.
Great to have you with us on a Friday night in Sparta, Kentucky. 2 races to go for the ARCA Racing Series presented by Menards. Tonight, the penultimate round, 19th race of the year, and what a gorgeous evening we have for you here in the Bluegrass. Clear skies, it's been a picture-perfect day. Right now, 71 degrees, not a chance of rain here tonight. And matching our weather here this evening, the last race for these teams. It was a thriller, a perfect night in Salem, Indiana. Just less than 2 hours from right here at Kentucky Speedway. It went down on Saturday evening. Mason Mitchell side by side with Tom Hessert. This is for the lead. Now, Mitchell had dominated, but on the closing laps, Mitchell goes around. Tom Hessert able to get the checkered flag, his second win of the year, and Mitchell, who came in as the championship leader, actually backed across the start-finish line and came home in the runner-up position. So with 2 races to go, this is what our championship standings look like. It continues to be Mason Mitchell at the top. His advantage was 50 coming into today, but because he qualified on the front row, he gets another 10 points. Grant Enfinger starting outside the top 10. Qualifying does, in fact, matter when it comes to the championship in the ARCA Racing Series. So Mason Mitchell with a slim 60-point lead as we get set to go green here tonight with only 2 races remaining in 2014. Right now, we go trackside for pre-race ceremonies.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, please rise and remove your hats as the Kentucky State Police Honor Guard presents our nation's color. Please remain standing as Pastor Larry Campbell of Kentucky Raceway Ministries offers tonight's invocation.
Welcome back to the ARCA Racing Series live in Sparta, Kentucky. Tonight it's the Zloop 150 at Kentucky Speedway on Fox Sports 1. So there are 2 drivers that own the headlines when it comes to the ARCA Racing Series in 2014. One of them, Mason Mitchell. He is the championship leader, but only 1 career victory. It came in our only other mile-and-a-half race at Chicagoland Speedway. And as you can see, Mason feeling quite confident in victory lane. So how does he have the championship lead if he's only won 1 race? Well, that's a great question, because Grant Enfinger, who is second in the championship, came out of the gate strong, winning the first 3 races of the year, including the season opener at Daytona, his last win coming at DuQuoin. But he enters the evening 60 points behind, and here's the reason why. You get bonus points for qualifying on the pole, second or third in ARCA competition. Mason Mitchell has 5 poles this season. He owns the qualifying points, and with that, he has a 60-point championship lead overall. Hey, everybody, good to have you with us on a Friday night in the Bluegrass. With Jeff Hammond and Kenny Wallace, I'm Adam Alexander. And no doubt tonight, we're going to talk so much about this championship battle. With only 2 races to go, Grant Enfinger and Mason Mitchell are having a great fight for the title in 2014. But there are some other great drivers we'll be talking about tonight as well, Jeff.
Yes, we will. And the thing is, when we talk about this series earlier in the week, they had a practice day up here, and the guy that kind of established himself as a potential favorite tonight has to be Will Kimmel. He drove not only his car, but 2 other cars during that practice session, and he had an opportunity, I think, to get a feel for this racetrack while he was basically setting up his own teammate's car, Michael Lira, as well as Matt Tiff's car, which is a Ken Schrader car number 52. I look for Will Kimmel to be a factor tonight. I think he's got a great car in him. He finished second at Pocono the last time he raced on a big racetrack, but he also, another guy I want to kind of keep an eye on, the guy who beat him, and that's Justin Allison. That's right, Allison, folks. He is part of that Alabama gang. This kid won in his first start at Pocono. He's got the same car back here tonight. He'll be starting 9th in this field. Better watch out for this 88.
And, Jeff, 2 drivers that I'm looking out for, they're following the footsteps of a lot of other racers. A lot of champions have come through the ARCA series. The first one is this year's 2014 K&N champion, Ben Rhodes. Right here, you're looking at Daniel Suarez. He's the NASCAR Toyota Series in Mexico current point leader, Daniel Suarez, and he is a really fast driver. Finished 15th in his last nationwide race. So Daniel will be coming.
You know, when you talk about these 2 drivers, you mentioned Suarez and Rhodes. What's interesting about them is their limited experience at intermediate tracks. In fact, Rhodes had never been at a 1.5 miles until earlier this week in the test session that Jeff talked about. And Daniel Suarez had never done it before last weekend when he ran the nationwide race at Chicagoland Speedway. And now we look at our front row tonight. We have not talked about Justin Boston, who this weekend is doing double duty, running tomorrow night's nationwide event. It will be his debut there, driving the 20 car for Joe Gibbs Racing. And oh, by the way, he won the pole for this race, Jim. It's his 3rd of the season.
And the Menards Pole Award presented by Ansel happened about 2.5 hours ago, as Justin Boston had a very strong run in qualifying. He was very fast in practice as well, but when it comes to qualifying on bigger tracks, Justin was a bit surprised. But under that bright sunshine, his Zloop Toyota was among the fastest, and indeed that car was really quick. We're taking a look as he takes the checkered and winning his 3rd pole of the season. Earlier this year, 2 short track poles. Was it a surprise, Justin, to win the pole here today? Let's find out from our pole sitter from earlier.
Man, it was a good lap. I wasn't sure if Daniel was going to get it or not, and who would have thought I could get a pole at an intermediate? I mean, we've had a lot of success on the short tracks, and I can't thank Zloop and everybody enough. Venturing Motorsports did a great job preparing this 25 Zloop Camry today, and what can you say? We got the title sponsorship of the race, and we got the pole, so we got to finish it off tonight and finish where we start.
That's our Menards Pole Award presented by Ansel, race winner. Actually, the 10th time actually, he started within the top 5. Now let's check in with Caitlin Vincey.
Well, Jim, another driver who had a strong qualifying effort here today is our current series points leader, Mason Mitchell. He was 2nd on the leaderboard, picking up some extra points while he was at it. So I caught up with him earlier today to talk about that qualifying run.
Yeah, the cool thing about the ARCA series presented by Menards is that, you know, the top 3 get points in qualifying, and been fortunate enough to have a really good qualifying effort all year this year. And I think that's 8 weeks in a row. We started in the front row, which is pretty cool, and makes my guys pretty proud of, you know, our effort in qualifying. And I think we have a really good hot rod tonight, and looking forward to getting the Thermal Technology Services Ford Fusion up front and battling for the win.
The last time the ARCA series raced here at Kentucky, Mason Mitchell finished 2nd, but he believes he's got a car that can go to victory lane here today. Adam?
You, Caitlin, the engines have fired, and it's just about time to go green for the ARCA Racing Series presented by Menards. Glad you're with us on a Friday night in the Bluegrass. Rolled off the grid as we get set for our Zloop 150 for the ARCA Racing Series here at Kentucky Speedway. And as you take a look at tonight's starting lineup, we send it to Jim Trado for our Scott Brand Rookie Challenge Spotlight. Jim?
And a young man worth recognizing, actually just started college at UNC Charlotte. Our Scott Rookie Challenge Spotlight tonight falls right on the number 52 and the driver Matt Tift out of Hinckley, Ohio. Albeit his 10 starts this year have come on various size tracks. This is just his 2nd time seeing a track of this size. He finished 3rd at Chicagoland, never saw the place a month ago. Here today, he didn't have a chance to practice Wednesday with everybody else. He was in class. So he got laps today. I just asked him, how's the car feel? You're learning a lot in a quick way. He said, I think we're really comfortable in race trim. He kind of had that smile on his face. This kid's a very fast learner, one driver to watch here, and certainly a rookie driver learning a lot quickly on mile-and-a-half racetracks here in the ARCA Racing Series presented by Menards.
Thank you, Jim. And you mentioned mile-and-a-half racetracks. We've only had one so far this season. It came at Chicagoland Speedway, but back-to-back mile-and-a-half tracks to end the year here in Kansas. What can you guys tell us as we take a look at our track description for Kentucky Speedway?
Well, as you look at this, a mile-and-a-half track back-to-back, like you say, 100 laps, 150 miles, 34 cars. But Jeff Hammond, when I look at this field, I see a lot of drivers that want to make a name for themselves. They're going to be going for a win. We're on Fox Sports 1 tonight. All the Cup teams are watching them. So this series, I guess it highlights some of the great drivers that are coming along. We watched Kyle Larson in this series, Ryan Newman. So tonight, a superstar could be born.
And now, guys, we take a look at our onboards for this evening. And you talk about stars that could be born. What about the man that leads the Rookie of the Year championship, Austin Wayne Self? He starts 16th in tonight's race. And we're going to talk so much about Grant Enfinger. Already have second in the championship, but he is fighting his car. He rolls in the 12th position here this evening. Starting 6th, a driver that's been so impressive this season. Top 5 on the other mile-and-a-half in Chicago. The 55 machine of Cody Coughlin running a part-time schedule. And on boards for both drivers starting on the front row. Mason Mitchell, who goes outside row 1, our championship leader coming in. And on the pole for the 5th time in his career, driving that 25 machine, Justin Boston. It's been such a good weekend for him, one that he will never forget, making his nationwide debut tomorrow night, and he's going to lead him to the green tonight for the ARCA Racing Series. And now we look at our ARCA Spotlight. Everybody's got a driver. We start with Jim Trado.
I'm looking right at the driver who won the most recent race in dramatic fashion at Salem, Indiana. Tom Hessert, in his 138th start, is looking for his first mile-and-a-half victory. He's won this year at Talladega. He's also won at Salem Speedway. Two opposite ends of the spectrum, but I think he'll get it handled tonight. He told me before the race, I'll need a long run to do it, but I think I've got it with this Cunningham Motorsports Dodge. Let's check in with Caitlin Vincey.
Well, Jim, one guy I'm going to be watching is actually Tom Hessert's teammate, Brandon Godovic. He came up here and tested on Wednesday at Kentucky. He was not happy with that 72 machine at all. He said they changed everything on that race car to try and get it ready for the race. And I spoke with him after that practice session today. He was much happier, a total 180. And he said that car has made many improvements. He told me he feels they now have a car that could actually win this race. He qualified 11th for tonight's race. Jeff?
Yeah, Caitlin, right now I'm taking a look at a guy. He's pretty much the grandmaster when it comes to the ARCA Series. This is Frank Kimmel, folks. He actually has won 7 championships in a row and has a grand total of 10. He's starting a little bit deep in the field. He hasn't got any wins this year, but talking to him in the garage area, this 44 car may be primed tonight to go to victory lane.
Jeff, I'm looking at the 55 of Cody Coughlin. This man has a bright future ahead of him. Listen to this. He just signed a 2-year deal, a development driver for Joe Gibbs Racing. He's going to run 1 more year of ARCA Racing, and then he's going to go to the Truck Series with Kyle Busch Racing. He's running late models. He's getting a lot of time on these big tracks here lately.
The lights are out on the pace car. It's time to go green in the 19th race of the year for the ARCA Racing Series presented by Menards. Just had an hour of final practice for the nationwide cars. Different tire. The early laps could be interesting for the 34 drivers that are set to take the green flag.
What do you mean early laps? Turn 1 could be real interesting how these cars go off in there, and this Hoosier rubber matches up with the Goodyear that's already been laid.
Justin Boston on the pole. To his right, the championship leader, Mason Mitchell. Green flag is waving here in Kentucky in the Zloop 150. And actually, Justin Boston going to choose the outside lane at the start, and he's got company inside lane. Lead at the start going to be Mason Mitchell.
Kyle Weatherman had a little bit of trouble on that start, kind of held up that outside line.
How about the fact that Boston chooses the outside lane and loses the advantage into turn 1 as you see him racing for position behind him?
Whoa, this is tight right there. The driver slides up into Cody Coughlin. Cody gets a little loose, trying to gather it back up down the front straightaway. As you can see that Jegs Toyota wiggling.
And that black machine behind him that you talked about, the 88 of Justin Allison. Jeff mentioned him earlier. Won at Pocono in his last start, and he's going to the wrong direction. Matt Tift in the 52 machine working inside.
And I think the main thing, we talked about at the very start of the race, the matching of this rubber between Hoosier tires and Goodyear's. This is what they run here. It's Hoosier tires in the ARCA series. What's on the racetrack right now is what was left there from that nationwide practice just a little while ago.
Mason Mitchell got the early advantage, but he's got company inside of him. Pole sitter Justin Boston, who uses the inside lane to grab the top spot as they take it into turn 1.
Whoa, Enfinger goes high, trying to get around those bumps, but a little bit too high outside of the rubber. Loses a lot of ground.
And look who's coming behind him. Daniel Suarez, and right behind them, the 41 of Ben Rhodes, who's making his second career start tonight in the ARCA Racing Series for that 66 of Suarez. This is his first ever attempt in ARCA competition.
Not only a second time on a 1.5-mile racetrack, and he was at Chicagoland last week in the Nationwide Series getting some experience, but right now he's got this 66 car really looking strong.
A lot of compliments being given to Daniel Suarez, saying he is the next big thing. He is your current point leader in the Toyota NASCAR Series in Mexico. Finished 15th in his last NASCAR nationwide race, getting a lot of laps here in the United States.
Working that inside lane right now, trying to get a position off of turn 3 and 4 and see if he can move up a position.
Well, and Suarez, a kid who had never been on an intermediate track before last week at Chicagoland Speedway when he drove that 29 nationwide car. I asked him earlier in the garage, what's the difference between Chicago and Kentucky? He said this place, much more bumpy, something you can relate to, Ken.
And you have to think about Daniel Suarez coming out of Mexico, a lot of road course racing, a lot of short tracking, a lot of drivers. You never see a track like this, even if you're inside the United States. Some drivers' dreams are just to make it to Daytona. So here, Daniel Suarez getting a lot of experience running 200 mile an hour going into the corners.
You know, you see the top 4 right behind him. Driver that's run a part-time schedule, Kyle Weatherman, who's been very impressive in that 60 machine all weekend long, and we'll also follow the progress of the man who entered second in the championship, that 90 machine of Grant Enfinger, who had to start outside the top 10 and is running in the 16th position. Justin Boston a little loose off the corner. What's the story with Enfinger, Jim?
Well, it was a matter of finding speed all day on the racetrack. They made a lot of changes on this number 90 Allegiant Travel Chevy. Now Grant Enfinger says, my corner entry's better, but I don't know what's going on with the engine. Something under the hood could cost the second place in points, man. Huge here tonight at Kentucky.
He came in 60 points behind after Mason Mitchell was second in qualifying today. You lose an engine, and you can pretty much throw your hopes of winning a title out the door with only one race remaining following tonight as you see him drop another spot. This time it's Devin Steele who gets by. So Justin Boston started on the pole, lost the lead to Mason Mitchell, but he has grabbed the top spot now. Daniel Suarez is second. And running in the third position, Mason Mitchell, Ben Rhodes, Kyle Weatherman are top 5. We're 7 laps in the Zloop 150 here at Kentucky. New leader here at Kentucky Speedway, Daniel Suarez, the third different driver to go out front in the Zloop 150. 12 laps of the 100 complete here tonight at Kentucky Speedway. And you talk about highlighting the proper drivers. You got Suarez, who takes over the point in his ARCA debut. Ben Rhodes is running third, who is making only his second start, the first on a Speedway. And the man who's running second is Justin Boston. He had the lead while we were away at break, but a power move to the outside by Suarez.
Now, great move right there off the exit of turn 2. He's able to get the outside position. And here's what's impressive. Look how this car is rolling the center of the corner, Kenny. He gets down in there, lets the car roll through the center. Great exit speed, takes the lead.
And now we have a new man running second. Ben Rhodes, while we were showing you the replay of the battle for the lead, has gotten around Justin Boston for second. So the top 5, Daniel Suarez, Ben Rhodes, Justin Boston, Mason Mitchell, and Kyle Weatherman. And as Mitchell runs fourth, big problems for the man trying to chase him down for the championship. A look here at the 90 of Grant Enfinger. We saw smoke coming from that machine.
Yeah, this is a heartbreak. Grant Enfinger, 6 wins this year. And you can see the smoke coming out. They're probably telling them to stay out, but I'm sure the ARCA Racing Series is going to take a closer look because, Jeff, it looks like pretty soon it's going to grenade and blow up.
Yeah, the thing is right now, you're seeing out of the exhaust right there, it looks like he is definitely losing the engine. Each lap that goes by, it's just going further and further south. You see him losing power down the straightaway. He's still hustling as hard as he can, folks, but there's not a whole lot he can do about it. He can just basically drive it till it breaks, and you see it. It's continued to smoke. It gets worse and worse each time.
Battle for position. The 60 here of Kyle Weatherman going to the inside of the 98, our championship leader, Mason Mitchell. And now we've got a problem here for the 97. Roger Carter sitting idle on track, but the green flag stays out. Carter down at the end of pit road at pit exit.
Yeah, I don't, you know, that's a dangerous position. Anybody spins out there, so we're all taking a look at it as the cars go on.
And there you see the perspective as our camera zooms in on the Carter machine and then pulls out to show you the drivers coming across the start-finish line. There's Enfinger, who's smoking. And he actually went all the way through the grass as he came from the start-finish line.
Leader goes by again.
You know, we're just not used to this. Usually when here we go, finally.
Caution is out.
We were all shocked for a little bit that he goes spinning through the grass, ends up on pit road.
But I think they were trying to give him time to get the car refired, so they wouldn't have to interrupt the race, but this is a smart thing to do.
Absolutely.
So our first caution of the night comes with 17 laps complete. Daniel Suarez, Ben Rhodes, Justin Boston, Matt Tiff, Mason Mitchell, the top 5 here in the Zloop 150. Under caution for the first time tonight, the Zloop 150 for the ARCA Racing Series here at Kentucky. 19 of 100 laps complete. This is the final piece of the equation when it comes to Fast Friday presented by Aleve. It's been a great day so far at New Hampshire and here at Kentucky. More of the same tomorrow. Fires up with Sprint Cup practice tomorrow morning at 9. Sprint Cup final practice at 11:30. Sandwiched in between Truck Series qualifying. You can watch it all live on Fox Sports 1 and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. Back to the Bluegrass after a break. We continue under caution, and while we were away, pit road finally opened after they had cleaned up the debris at pit exit. And when they did that, a number of drivers were able to come down pit road. We will set who made their first pit stop of the night, but first, also, while we were in the break, Grant Enfinger brought his machine down pit road, turned into the ARCA Racing Series garage. The engine finally gave way for the man who was second in championship standings coming in.
We cannot underestimate what a devastating blow this is. Grant Enfinger, 6 wins this year, knowing he has a shot to win this championship. And look, the motor finally lets go. You know, look, you'll overcome this, but with only 1 race to go, you know, tonight's race and then the next race at Kansas, it's a heartbreak.
It really is, because I mean, you've worked so hard, and you look at his record this year. Such a spectacular season, be so close to capturing that, and all of a sudden he has an engine problem with just 1 race to go or 2 races to go. And all of a sudden, it's done. I mean, it's done.
And that's the 2 car, the pit area for Thomas Prater, and they've had an enormous spill of some kind, so they're cleaning up there. And we clean up what happened on pit road. From 9th on back, those drivers came down the pit lane. Daniel Suarez stayed out, who was the race leader. And you've got Justin Boston, Matt Tiff, Kyle Weatherman, Justin Allison, the top 5. All those drivers stayed on track here under caution. Let's go to Jim.
Well, it's a brief conversation for our race leader, Daniel Suarez, and his ARCA veteran crew chief, Jeff McClure. Jeff said, it's too early to pit. Tell me about the race car. Daniel fired back and said the car is tight all the way through turns 1 and 2, and in turns 3 and 4. It's tight all the way through the corners. Jeff McClure fired back on the radio. That's exactly what I wanted to hear. It's cooled down quite a bit here. They practice in the daytime. They think they've got the handle on the car now. Too early to pit for them. For the race leader, that's why they stayed out. Let's check in with Caitlin.
Thanks, Jim. Well, if you're wondering why Justin Boston didn't end up pitting, he radioed to his team and said, I was past the cone when I heard you. I could not make it onto pit road without a penalty. I'm sorry, guys. Adam?
Well, thanks, Caitlin. And Jeff, you and I were breaking down strategy earlier today for tonight's race, and we really thought you needed to get to about lap 30 before you made that pit stop, because then you could go the distance. None of these drivers that pitted here, unless we get a ton of caution laps, are going to be able to do this on 1 stop.
No, they're not going to be able to. And the thing that we found out, you know, throughout studying this practice session and talking to the guys who tested up here, these tires should be good, you know, for about 70 laps. They should be able to go that kind of distance without a whole lot of problem. But you mentioned the fuel situation. You've got to be careful you don't put yourself in a box here about halfway and all of a sudden give up too much grip with the tires later on.
We'll go green next time by. Let's take a look at our keys to the race as we're about a fourth of the way in.
Yeah, getting across the bumps in turn 1 and 2. All racetracks have character. You have to get across those bumps. Very rough part of the track.
Yeah, we were talking about it a moment ago. Pit strategy. When you come in, when you take your tires, when you get the car full of fuel, what adjustments need to be made, because track position is going to be very important. And the other thing is managing lap traffic. We already saw how quickly Daniel Suarez and this elite group got around and started having to work lap traffic, and that could really affect how you go up through the field.
And speaking of that, when we get the restart, there will be 21 drivers on the lead lap. The top 8 cars on the restart did not pit under caution. The first 2 of those drivers that came down pit road, Will Kimmel, who's had a great car all week long here in Kentucky, and in the 10th position, championship leader Mason Mitchell, who now has an advantage of 160 points over Grant Enfinger, who's gone to the garage with an engine failure. Green flag goes back in the air with 24 laps complete at Kentucky Speedway.
That looked like the start at Pocono. Wow. They're 5 wide at the start-finish line. Look at this. This is awesome.
Now, Justin Boston and Daniel Suarez both have led laps. They jump out front. They're 4 wide behind him for a moment as they go into turn 1. Among those sliding around, the 15 of Brennan Poole.
The veteran Will Kimmel, the bright yellow car to the right of your screen, Jeff. I think he knew what he was doing.
Well, you talk about Will Kimmel, who's obviously got a good car here tonight, running inside the top 10, having made that pit stop, and not too far behind him, the 44 of Uncle Frank, who's won 10 championships in the ARCA Racing Series.
He wouldn't let no grass grow underneath his feet whenever that green flag was dropped, and neither was Daniel Suarez. He got a really good jump down in that corner, and watching a lot of these cars, especially here at night, we'll be able to see how they're bottoming out just a little bit as they go through this rough racetrack here at Kentucky.
Good battle for third, outside the 60 of Kyle Weatherman, inside of him Matt Tift. Neither one of them too far behind the second place man of Justin Boston, and he's right in the hip pocket of our leader Daniel Suarez.
And guys, what was the story about Tift? He couldn't stay and test the 52 car because of why, Adam?
He had to go back for classes, Western history and music at UNC Charlotte.
18 years old. Good thing there's a rule, because I think they would let these drivers race at 12.
Well, and we've talked about the top 4.
Kenny, you qualify.
But hey,
thank you.
Right behind him is Mason Mitchell, who did make a pit stop, but our championship leader starting to rally back through the field. He's already picked up 5 positions since the restart.
This is a good race. I'm going to tell you what. Whoa, look at there. Tiff gets a little bit loose as he goes through the trial.
And just behind them, side by side for 5th, that's Justin Allison inside of the 98 of Mason Mitchell.
But Kenny, with the car bottomed out like it is right now, on a couple of these cars, that's got to be upsetting you as far as the driving.
It does. Shout out to Kenny Schrader, the owner of this Federated Auto Parts car. You see Tiff going on the bottom down the front straightaway. You know what happens, Jeff? Wow, can you believe this? They're getting loose as they go through the trial. That's a sensation you don't feel that much at a lot of racetracks.
And for so many of these drivers racing in an aerodynamic situation for the first time in their career. Let's hear from a very disappointed Grant Enfinger. He's with Jim in the garage.
Grant is at the hauler already. Grant, what contributed to that motor issue?
I just couldn't get it in the 4th gear, so not exactly sure what happened there. If I just messed up or messed up something in practice and didn't catch it. But went into 3rd fine and pulled it back to 4th, and it just pegged the motor. So ECR built a hell of a motor, but just wasn't strong enough for however many RPMs that turned it at. So just really disappointed for everybody at GMS Racing. So it's been a great opportunity for me with the Legion Travel, K-Site Motor Hunting, Franklin Fasteners this week, but man, just pretty disappointing.
An empty smile, guys. Major dejection for this team.
An Alabama driver who has won 6 times this season changed teams mid-year, hoping that would be the difference to get him a championship. Blows an engine tonight. He scored 29th, 185 points behind Mason Mitchell.
But listen, here's what you have to believe. It did not go into 4th gear. You cannot say the driver missed a shift. He went to 4th gear. It wasn't there for some reason. I say part failure. Rated the motor.
Great battle here. Justin Allison working over Mason Mitchell for 5th. Right behind Kyle Weatherman on track as Daniel Suarez now has opened up a 0.6 of a second advantage over second place Justin Boston.
Boy, how great is it to hear the name Allison back? I mean, that is awesome. Justin Allison, the black car, riding high right now, shades of the Alabama gang, the Allisons.
And let me tell you, when he won at Pocono a couple of months ago, it was awesome to watch it happen.
And the crowd was on their feet.
Grandson of Donnie Allison running good here tonight. 31 of 100 laps complete. Daniel Suarez out front. He's led 23 circuits in the Zloop 150 from Kentucky Speedway. The chase is on in NASCAR. Major League Baseball playoffs just around the corner. Big one tomorrow in the AL Central. Tigers and Royals. You can watch it on Fox or get the Dodgers and Cubs at 12:30 p.m. Eastern time. And then tomorrow night, under the lights, 7 p.m. Eastern, a matchup in the NL Central. The Cincinnati Reds just up the road playing Kenny Wallace's St. Louis Cardinals.
And we are leading 2-1 right now in St. Louis.
Not that you were keeping track, right? Keep your eye on the monitor, would you? Daniel Suarez leads, and behind him a great battle. These two have been going at it. The 52 of Matt Tifft inside of our pole sitter, Justin Boston.
They got a great battle there, but they better look behind them, boys, because I see a car right now just running them down very quickly, and that right there happens to be the 41 of Ben Rhodes. His car, after making a pit stop, is basically flying around this racetrack.
Now, do you see why night racing is so awesome? There's Matt Tifft going down the front straightaway, bottom out, sparks just a flying. We would not see that in the daytime, so it does pay off for a track to have a little bit of character.
There's your guy, Jeff, Ben Rhodes, inside of Justin Boston up to third. Now, he's one of those drivers that came down pit road at lap 21, got tires, and I'm not sure if they made an adjustment on the car or the new tires are that good, but he has been electric since the restart. Restarted outside the top 10, and now he finds himself in the 3rd position, just over a second behind race leader Daniel Suarez. And speaking of Suarez, he's got company. Matt Tifft, the youngster, has caught him in the 52.
But we talked about how you handle lap traffic right now. Suarez got caught up in lap traffic. Now you look what has happened. He got slowed down, his momentum. He got Tifft behind him, and right behind Tifft, here comes Ben Rhodes.
You can throw a blanket over the top 3 here at Kentucky Speedway. 9 laps shy of halfway in the Zloop 150. Suarez is the race leader, Tifft behind him, and Ben Rhodes there as well.
And this is what ARCA is famous for. There are cars on the track well below the speed limit. They're able to stay on. These drivers are slicing through. And what a race for the lead, Jeff.
It's a race for the lead, but the thing I'm thinking about right now, you've got to have a spotter on top of this building right now, helping you get through this traffic and anticipating where you're going to catch some of these slower cars as we watch Ben Rhodes making a move under that 52 car of Tifft.
So our Scott Rookie Spotlight tonight, all about Matt Tifft. Whoa. He's lived up to his part of the building, doing a great job. But right now, he loses a spot 3 wide with a lap machine. Ben Rhodes tries to make it stick off of turn 2, and he didn't get it done. Wow.
But once again, this is why ARCA is so great. Those cars, this is a starter series. You cannot tell those slower cars to pull off the track. They have every right to be out there.
Hey, this is the first time ever that Ben Rhodes has raced on an oval longer than a mile. This is new territory for him.
We highlighted him. We said he would be a driver to watch. Why? Because we've watched him in the past. It's showing up.
Well, if I was his crew chief right now, I'd be telling him, look, dude, you've got a fast race car. Work the traffic. We'll figure out a way to get you in the right position. Don't do anything that's going to cost you because you've got a car that can win the race. Don't mess up.
And keeping in mind, the other drivers with him inside the top 5 all will need to make a pit stop. And speaking of the top 5, a battle here for the 5th position. The 60 of Kyle Weatherman has it as they go around the lap machine of Tom Birdie. That's the 98 of Mason Mitchell behind him, who scored 6th right now.
Yeah, and Mason Mitchell in that 98, he has to figure out how he's going to race. And I would say calculated aggressiveness. He's your points leader right now.
2 times this year. We've had a first-time winner in their first start in the ARCA Racing Series, and we may get another one. 4 of the top 5 have not won this season, and a battle for the top spot. All 3 of these guys you see here never gone to victory lane in the ARCA Series, and Matt Tiff trying to get the top spot away from Daniel Suarez, and Ben Rhodes has got a front row seat for it all.
We got battles all over this racetrack, guys, and we keep talking about Suarez. If he could wind up winning tonight, he'd be the 3rd driver in 2014 to get his first win here in this series.
First win in his first start.
Exactly.
Want to talk about that 52 of Matt Tiff, car owner Kenny Schrader. I said, Kenny, why is this driver in your car? Schrader, not one to mince words, simply said, Kenny, the kid can drive at 18 years old.
Well, he's falling back to 3rd right now. And Ben Rhodes continues his drive toward the front. Mention the fact that he had that pit stop at lap 21. No problems working his way back inside the top 10. When Suarez and Tiff got in some lap traffic, Rhodes closed in. And as he works over Suarez for the lead, here is the battle for 5th. Mason Mitchell, championship leader, inside of Kyle Weatherman. So put Mitchell back inside the top 5, and at the start-finish line, a dead heat for the top spot on track. Ben Rhodes, first time ever on an intermediate, working over Daniel Suarez, who tonight makes his ARCA debut.
They're still trying. Daniel Suarez will not.
We got a caution on the racetrack.
Second caution of the night, and it comes out as we complete lap 47. And there you see the debris.
I am highly entertained, Jeff Hammond.
This is you know, we talked about this, guys, before we ever came on the air. What a great race it was going to be tonight, and the reasons why, and we're not getting disappointed. I'm telling you that right now. These guys are putting on a whale of a show.
Oh, we know there's going to be a lot of drivers that come down pit road because they haven't pitted yet, and everybody now certainly in their window to go the distance. The question for me, if you're Ben Rhodes, who came down at lap 21, if you're Mason Mitchell, who did the same, do you pit here? And if you pit here, fuel only, tires? We'll get the answer when we come back. A couple of laps away from halfway in the Zloop 150. It's the ARCA Racing Series live in Sparta, Kentucky on a Friday night. Happy to have you with us on Fox Sports 1. Pit stops the order of business while we were away. And I asked the question going to break, Jeff. When you come down pit road here, we knew the drivers that hadn't pitted would get 4 tires. The question was for those drivers that came down at lap 21, what would they do? And a little bit of a mixed bag there.
It was a little bit of a mixed bag, but the guy who was able to come out on top as far as fuel only was Ben Rhodes. We're interested to see right now if this track position being out front, how these tires kind of hold up, because Kenny, I think he's going to change tires at least one more time.
Jeff, Hoosier brought a little harder of a tire than maybe you might want. So when they qualified, they scuffed the tires. Hopefully Ben Rhodes' team knows something that we don't know, which maybe the tire's not wearing, because to not take any tires is a pretty bold move.
It is, but at the same time, you know, you don't want to wind up having this thing go green the rest of the way and be in a position where all of a sudden with 10 or 15 laps to go, you start losing that valuable grip, and all of a sudden one of the guys who put on tires here around lap 48 will come blowing by you.
So Ben Rhodes goes fuel only, no brainer. He easily wins the battle off the pit lane. The drivers that took tires, here's how they line up. Daniel Suarez came off 2nd. Matt Tiff was 3rd. Brennan Poole, who we have not talked about tonight in that 15th stop for John West Townley. Great stop. He will restart in the 4th position. Mason Mitchell, one of those drivers that pitted at lap 21 that we thought may go fuel only, actually got tires. He restarts 5th. And Will Kimmel restarts in the 6th position as we continue under caution. Brandon Godovic inside the top 10, running 7th. Haven't talked about him tonight. Cody Coughlin, your spotlight driver. Solid job in the 55, is 8th right now. The 10-time champion Frank Kimmel is 9th. And Kyle Weatherman, the final car, inside the top 10. We're halfway in the Zloop 150. The restart when we return to Kentucky Speedway on Fox Sports 1. Set for the restart in the Zloop 150. 49 coming to 48 laps to go. 100 total here tonight. Ben Rhodes, the race leader. Daniel Suarez restarts 2nd. Matt Tiff, Brennan Poole, Mason Mitchell, the top 5.
And this is going to be an exciting start. Ben Rhodes does not have on new tires. The black car on the outside, everybody else has new tires.
So Ben Rhodes is the race leader. is the control car. Chooses the outside lane, and he's got big-time company inside. Daniel Suarez is there, but he can't make it happen. Ben Rhodes in that outside lane has the lead off of turn 2.
Talk about momentum right now, Kenny. It looks to me like those tires are giving him a little bit of advantage. Air pressure's already up on him. Number 66 car had maybe be a little easy, a little gentle coming off of turn 2.
I like the battle for 5th. Red car, 69, Will Kimmel, lives an hour away in Sellersburg, and that's Mason Mitchell you're on board with behind him in 6th.
Well, what a great view. Going down in the corner, 190, 200 mile an hour, across the bumps. Looks like a video game.
It does. If we continue to watch Kimmel right there in that red car just in front of our onboard, he was telling us earlier, I'm going to try to race a smart race. Get up there about halfway and then try to keep in touch with the leaders and possibly challenge for the lead.
And if you're just joining us on a Friday night, we had a big development in the championship early. Grant Enfinger, who came in 2nd in points behind that white car, the 98 of Mason Mitchell, lost an engine. He right now has scored 29th. He's off track. That's likely where he will finish. He was 60 points behind when we went green. He's now 180 out and only 1 race remaining after tonight, Kansas, in a couple of weeks.
Watching that 69 of Will Kimmel reminds me of Rusty Wallace. Goes down the straightaway and abruptly turns the wheel left and jerks the car, but it doesn't work right now because here comes Mason Mitchell on his inside. A lot of different driving styles throughout the year I've seen, and Will really jerks the car off the wall.
This is what I've been watching, guys. Look at Brandon Poole right there in that 15 car. He's putting a lot of pressure right now on Daniel Suarez off the corner of turn 2 down the back straightaway.
These are teammates. Brennan Poole taking on Daniel Suarez, who's making his debut in the ARCA Racing Series tonight. Behind him, you've got Matt Tiff. Saw Will Kimmel sneaking into the picture. Right now, he rides in the 6th position. Mason Mitchell is there as well. All of this is allowing Ben Rhodes to pull away. The advantage for him, 1.5 seconds. And how big is this for Rhodes? 2nd career start. He drove for Venturini in Madison. Finished 11th. Nothing too impressive on the short track. First opportunity at a big track. Great here in the open test on Wednesday. And he lives in Louisville, Kentucky. He's a senior at Holy Cross High School. A lot of friends and family here this weekend watching him. What a great way it would be to start his super speedway career with a win at his home track. A lot of time to go.
What I'm trying to watch right now is Ben Rhodes' times. He's out front, kind of sitting pace right now, about 32 flat. But Suarez and Poole have now both, they're running 31.90, Kenny, and that could be telling us that, hey, their tires are starting to come in just a little bit. They may start to march their way back toward the front.
Or, as Ben Rhodes has pulled away, created some separation, perhaps cooling his jets and saving his tires for late in this race, realizing that he put tires on at lap 21 and everybody else did so at lap 48.
And I might say this, Adam, maybe his crew chief's telling him, because such young drivers, you need an older crew chief to tell you, hey, look, you've got a good lead. We have used tires on. Take it easy.
Well, the last time we talked about Justin Allison in a race, he was winning at Pocono, but right now he's 14th. What's the story, Caitlin?
Well, Adam, what happened was they had a pretty slow stop there on pit road. The jack actually did not go up high enough on the left side. That's caused him to drop back all the way down into 14th. Adam?
The thing is, Adam, when you see this young man here, he has a pretty fast race car. He's running 7th position, but this is where pit strategy as well as a good pit crew will really come into play. We saw Brandon Poole basically come from about a 10th place, position up to the top 5. So this is one of the things the crew chief's going to have to make his mind up if we have another caution whether or not they put tires in this car.
Well, and he's running right behind the 22 of Austin Wayne Self, who's had a great rookie season and likely going to win Rookie of the Year honors. And they're right behind the red 6. Haven't seen Josh Williams in ARCA competition in a while, but he's doing a nice job tonight. Scored in the 12th position as these two battle behind him for the 13th spot.
And I'll tell you something that has caught me off guard. Look at the top left of your screen. There's only 40 laps to go. These guys are flying around here taking off laps. Remember, it's a 150-mile, 100-lap. Whoa, look at that.
Well, that's what I love about the ARCA Racing Series. The events are short. Jeff, you come in, you get in the garage, you practice, you qualify, and then you roll your sleeves up and go to work because you don't have much of an opportunity to get it done.
These guys remind me so much of what everybody who grew up in racing, a Friday night or a Saturday night race, you rolled into your local track and you did exactly that. You came in here, you did the best you could getting your car qualified, you tuned on it a little bit, and you went out and raced.
Jeff, you know what I like that you just said? This is basically short track racing on a big track. They're able to cut costs, come in here, boom, get it done in one day.
Back to the battle for second. The 66 is Daniel Suarez. Goes full-time next year in the Nationwide Series for Joe Gibbs Racing. Debuted tonight in an ARCA car, and he's handled it quite nicely. Second right now. He's already led 40 laps in this evening's race, and behind him a man who's won 5 times in ARCA competition, Brennan Poole, driving the 15.
And the thing is, guys, I would be remiss if I didn't tell you, if I were these guys' crew chiefs, I'd say, look, get in line. If you can't pass him, don't be getting alongside him. All you're doing is slowing each other down. Let's treat this place a little bit like we're at Daytona and get in line and see if we can run Ben Rhodes down.
One of the biggest lessons I ever had growing up was the great Harry Gant. He said, boy, don't be running side by side with me. All we're doing is slowing each other up. We're chasing that leader.
That's right.
There he goes. The leader is Ben Rhodes.
Catch me if
and
you
his
can.
advantage right now, 2.7 seconds. And oh, by the way, only 37 laps to go. So if you're watching tonight's ARCA race on Fox Sports 1 and saying, where have I heard that name, Ben Rhodes? It's on the short tracks around the East Coast. He's already clinched the K&N East Championship. 5 times he's won this season. The season finale next weekend in Dover, Delaware. Top 10 in 13 of 15 races. He's also made 3 starts in the Camping World Truck Series, where twice he's finished inside the top 10. And in this, only his 2nd start in ARCA competition, he is dominating. His lead, Jim, now almost 5 seconds.
And he's got virtually the same crew that took him to the championship this year in the NASCAR K&N Pro Series East. Mark McFarland, his crew chief, said, we have a lot of good people with us. Matter of fact, the reason why they pitted way back on lap 21 was because they thought if the race goes green, they have a good enough car to get tires then to make sure everyone else, when they pitted, they would have the lead back. Well, they got through the field very quickly. They pitted again on lap 44 for fuel only, so they're good to go to the end. And his crew chief, Mark McFarland, and spotter Jeremy Brickhouse have said, keep your marks. We're not coming back in for tires. He is good.
A great battle here for second, Jim, although it's 5 seconds behind him. That's Daniel Suarez in the 66 and Brennan Poole inside of him, running a part-time schedule this weekend, driving the 15 for John West Townley, who's handling Truck Series duties in Loudon, New Hampshire.
And wow, that was rare right there, because everybody that has dove to the inside of Suarez has not been able to complete the pass. So that 15 of Poole is getting it done. Here he comes.
And I was just going to say, these guys need a caution. And as we say that, the 72 of Godovic goes around, was running inside the top 10. And with 28 to go, our 3rd caution of the night, officially Godovic was scored in the 8th position when he went sideways. Tough break for Brandon. Full-time in the K&N East Series the last couple of years. Top 10 in the championship both seasons. And also got a win at Greenville last year, making his ARCA debut tonight.
I thought he did a great job, though. It got away, away from him, but he was able to keep it off the wall. That's the main thing. You see him right through that part of the racetrack, and it just, like he hit the bumps right there, Kenny, and it just got away from him. A little loose right there off the exit of turn 2.
How close was that for our pole sitter,
close.
Justin Boston? Driving through the smoke, on board with the 25.
Here we go into turn 1 across the bump. See, the bump started getting him free. Sent him up the track with a push. Turns the wheel left, and wow. That was Days of Thunder, Jeff.
It was Days of Thunder right there. He went through with his eyes closed.
Godovic comes down pit road, quick service, and he'll stay on the lead lap. Great effort by him and this team.
You know, Adam, a lot of people that don't know a lot about racing, they'll say, hey, is that NASCAR or ARCA racing? Is it like the video game or the movie Days of Thunder? And I'll say, you should see some of the wrecks I've been in. I've closed my eyes, too.
The point I was going to make, those drivers from second on back were 5+ seconds behind Ben Rhodes. Now we get a restart. With less than 30 to go, this could get interesting. A new race for Ben Rhodes and all those guys that were chasing him. We'll get the restart when we come back. It's Ben Rhodes, Brennan Poole, Daniel Suarez, Mason Mitchell, Matt Tiff, the top 5. 27 to go here at Kentucky. A lot of high school football in and around Kentucky tonight. Tomorrow, all about college football on Fox Family of Networks. Big Ten Network gets us going noon Eastern time. In-state battle, Eastern Michigan, Michigan State. Then on Fox Sports 1, the Louisville Cardinals down the ACC going south to take on Florida International, Conference USA. Big one tomorrow night on Fox. Oklahoma Sooners ranked 4th in the land, going to Morgantown to get West Virginia. And then tomorrow night on Fox Sports 1, stay up late with us, San Diego State, Oregon State. It happens at 10:30 Eastern time. So while we were away, only 25 laps to go, and some of our front runners, including race leader Ben Rhodes, elected to come down and get tires. Rhodes came off pit road second. Justin Boston was the quickest of those that came down. 9 drivers elected to stay out. Brennan Poole is your new race leader as we watch the stop for Rhodes.
But again, I think Mark McFarland right now is thinking this could be the winning move, at least in his mind, as far as getting some tires on that car. And guys, I think the last time we saw him change tires, he was able to come up to the field with ease. I think he's got plenty of time to get back up there and challenge for this win.
Yeah, and you talk about plenty of time as we watch this pit stop with Daniel Suarez. Plenty of time, Jeff. We're in about 23 laps to go. It's going to be a short track race.
It'll be a short track race, but the thing is, he's back there. I'm talking about Suarez. He and Rhodes are back there together. These two guys are going to be coming up to the front. I think they're going to be charging them through this field, so they're going to be something to watch.
So Brennan Poole will be the race leader. The lights have just gone out on the pace car. No, they stay on, so we'll go a couple of more laps under caution. It's Brennan Poole, Mason Mitchell, Matt Tift, Cody Coughlin, and Kyle Weatherman, the top 5, and all those drivers stayed out, Jim.
And 17-year-old Ben Rhodes did come down pit road. They made a very small tire pressure adjustment. The car's been that good. They said, we want to get you a little better on going in the corner. So they've made a little small tire pressure adjustment for the 41 Alpha Technical Solutions machine. The 66 of Daniel Suarez, I watched his pit stop. You saw it on camera. They needed that pit stop. The tires went really, really the other direction for them. They made a small left rear tire pressure adjustment the last pit stop to try to get the car tightened up. The car got super tight, so they needed that pit stop. So Daniel's now got 4 fresh Hoosier tires to run to the end. And as crew chief said, we don't have time to mess around, guys. We got to go. A lot of ground to make up.
So Rhodes and Suarez going to restart 12th and 13th. Brennan Poole, the race leader. We get the green flag after a break. Back green, 22 laps to go. Brennan Poole chooses the outside lane. It's Mason Mitchell to the inside.
And they're 4 wide back in there at the back with Ben Rhodes and Will Kimmel going at it.
Look at Ben Rhodes thread the needle. He picks up 3 positions on the restart and inside of Will Kimmel into turn 1. Those fresh tires playing big dividends for the 41.
I think somebody might have said that.
22 laps to go. This is your short track on a Saturday night, except we're doing it on a 1.5-mile track.
So Brennan Poole grabs the race lead. Mason Mitchell behind him. And that's Cody Coughlin in that bright yellow Jegs machine. He's got company in the form of Matt Tift. And right behind them, you've got the 88 of Justin Allison. Remember, he lost all that track position earlier? He's back in the top 5.
Wow. And why? Because he didn't come down pit road.
Good job, Cody Coughlin. He's got an opportunity to top 5. That would, whoa, looky there.
Ben Rhodes gets 3 more on the second lap since the restart. He has gone from 12th to 6th in a lap and a half.
We were worried about not having enough laps for him. I think he's got plenty of time. They're 3 wide off of turn 4.
Back to the start-finish line. 20 laps remaining in the Zloop 150. It's the 19th race of the year for the ARCA Racing Series presented by Menards. And look at this mess. Justin Boston, Kyle Weatherman, and others.
And this is where Daniel Suarez is a big loser. He's got trapped back there with all his guys he's having to race, not lap traffic, but guys he's had to work his way around, while Ben Rhodes has been able to make some daring moves and get through these guys and lay chase to the lead.
How about Ben Rhodes and his aggression on the restart? And again, I remind you, he's never been on an oval longer than a mile in length. He has put on quite a display here tonight, back inside the top 5 as he goes around the 88 of Justin Allison.
This is a part of the race where you don't want to hear the spotter go, clear, oops, sorry. Because the drivers tend to start driving the car this time. But look, everybody's settled in. They've done a good job. Here comes Ben Rhodes right behind Cody Kaufman.
Did you see him enter turn 3 and roll the center of that corner? So much speed in this 41 car. No wonder the crew chief said, we can make you better. They've got this guy flying up through the field.
I would say that Ben Rhodes is picking them off one at a time, but it's been 2 and 3 at a time. He's now gotten around Cody Kaufman and driving away. Rhodes has gone from 12th to 4th in 4 laps on the restart. And Will Kimmel on the move. He's looking for a position on Allison. That's for 6th. Kimmel in that red car, number 69, inside of the 88.
This is an opportunity for Cody Kaufman in that Jegs car to gain some up-front experience. Running 5th right now with just a handful of laps to go. You know, you don't get an opportunity, Jeff, to run up front. And there is what they call up-front experience. And that's what you call running with the fast cars. If you're in the back, you're gaining that type of experience.
17 remaining here at Kentucky Speedway. Only 1 race to go in 2014 for the ARCA Racing Series.
Here's the problem I see with this. You have Justin Allison on the outside of Will Kimmel, and they both don't want to give because the race is coming towards the end, but they're not gaining any time on the guy in front of them. Will clear him this time? Still not clear. This is about 3 laps of side by side.
Ben Rhodes is stabilized in the 4th position. Matt Tifft runs in the 3rd spot, and the top 2 now have pulled away a bit. Brennan Poole and Mason Mitchell, 1st and 2nd on track as they cross the start-finish line. 15 laps to go.
What a race. And once again, this is competition. Neither one of these drivers, they're arguing in their brains. I'm better than you. No, you're better than me. And in the meantime,
Jeff,
Jeff,
wasting time.
They're wasting time.
And using up their tires.
Yep, oh, here again. Boy, we ain't racing each other. The leader's up there, and he's getting away.
And now the battle for 3rd. Ben Rhodes trying to get another one. Inside of Matt Tifft, put the 41 up to 3rd on the scoring pylon, but he's still 2.5 seconds behind Brennan Poole and Mason Mitchell. Can he get to the front? Only 14 laps to go. Rhodes unable to complete the pass. Sideways off of 4, and Rhodes can't save it into the wall.
We knew it. We seen it coming.
4th caution of the night as Ben Rhodes went sideways. It looked like he had 3rd. Tifft would not go away in that outside lane. Rhodes gets loose and perhaps showing a bit of his inexperience there.
A little bit of experience in between both of these drivers right now. I think Tifft should have given him that little bit because he definitely had him cleared, stuck his nose back in there, took the air off that 41 rear bumper, and away he went.
What a finish we are going to have in the Bluegrass tonight. We return after a break on Fox Sports 1. Brennan Poole, Mason Mitchell, Matt Tifft, Cody Kaufman, Justin Allison, your top 5 in the Zloop 150. It's been an all-day affair for the ARCA Racing Series presented by Menards here at Kentucky Speedway. 12 laps remain in the Zloop 150. Teams arrived in the garage early this morning. Practice early this afternoon, qualifying at 5 p.m. Eastern time and closing on 9:30 in the East and closing on the end of round 19. And unfortunately, a disappointing ending for Ben Rhodes, who this evening led 25 laps and had an unbelievable rally coming to the front, battling Matt Tifft for 3rd.
One of the highlights of our race you must overcome is the bumps, Jeff Hammond. The bumps upset his car.
He was loose getting down in there, and the bumps just aggravated and compounded that much more. And 25. When 52 wouldn't give him a whole lot of room, next thing you know, back in came around. He really knocked the fool out of that wall.
A senior at Holy Cross High School in Louisville, Kentucky. First time he's driven a machine at a speedway, a track longer on an oval than a mile in length.
And when you watch that slow-mo right there, watch this soft wall give. We have kind of forgot about our soft walls that have helped save a lot of lives. Watch this hit. Wow.
That's what you call leaving. All out there on the racetrack. Both those drivers going hot and heavy, trying to win this race here tonight. Unfortunately for the 41 car of Ben Rhodes, it will not be victory lane for him.
And that team had made a great call to bring him down pit road at lap 74. He got tires, and there was no doubt he was going to drive through the field and have a chance to get his first career win in only his second start.
I don't want to say this, but it's a must. I don't think they're done wrecking yet. Because, Jeff, this is it. When they come around, there's going to be 9 to go.
And the thing that's interesting, Daniel Suarez, he got kind of boxed in on that last restart. I wonder what he's thinking. Do I need to get a little bit more aggressive and go after it a little harder? Because I think if he could ever get to the outside and get back up there a little closer to the front, he still may have a car you have to deal with.
So our race leader is Brennan Poole, driving that 15 for John West Townley. He's not here tonight. He's in Loudon, New Hampshire, getting set for tomorrow's Camping World Truck Series race. You can watch the coverage live on Fox Sports 1, streaming live on Fox Sports Go. The setup begins with Chris Devoda, 12:30 Eastern Time. Michael Waltrip, Phil Parsons, Steve Burns have the call.
Yeah, Burns, those guys right there, they'll be hot and heavy. Hey, Twinkle Toes is up there in the booth, right?
Yes, he is.
Mikey. Now, hey, listen, Mason Mitchell, our points leader, does he lock this up tonight? Calculate points, he's on the front row inside.
So here we go, 9 laps remaining. Brennan Poole chooses the outside lane. You mentioned Mason Mitchell. He starts alongside on the inside. Row 2, Matt Tifft, Cody Coughlin, Justin Allison, Will Kimmel behind them. Green flag in the air once again for the stretch run in Kentucky.
Oh boy, hold your breath.
Look at Mason Mitchell, inside lane. Appears to be good. Remember, he started second in this race and got the top spot in that lower groove.
Look on the outside right
Daniel
now off of turn 2.
making it happen.
Suarez.
Outside of Will Kimmel.
He says, guys, you're not going to do it to me a second time. I'm going to make a run at you. And he did a good job on that restart right now. He's put himself in position, guys, to challenge with 8 laps to go.
And Mitchell has now fallen back to third. That's Matt Tifft, who's climbed up behind Brennan Poole. 8 laps remaining. The top 2 cars, you see him there on track. The battle for third is on. Cody Coughlin outside of the 98 of Mason Mitchell.
Wow, Cody Coughlin. What a power move on the outside of Mason Mitchell.
Inside, Will Kimmel trying to make it 3 wide off of turn 2.
Wow, what a move by Cody Coughlin, that Jegs Toyota. Young driver, very limited experience.
Cody Coughlin inside the top 5, running third. Daniel Suarez trying to run him down sideways as they come off of turn 4.
Are you kidding me, Jeff Hammond?
What a save.
Calm
It's
me
all
down.
or nothing. All or nothing, Kenny.
Calm me down. You're my
7
coach.
laps to go. The advantage for Brennan Poole, 0.3 of a second.
Driver, I'm not calming anybody down. Go get you one.
I'll never forget what a lot of my crew members said. Bring me nothing back but the steering wheel at this time of the race.
That's right, the trophy or the steering wheel, one of the two.
And when I say bring me nothing back steering wheel, that means that's all that's left of the car. The steering
Suarez
wheel.
has reeled it in, and he now goes to work on Mason Mitchell. That's the battle for the 5th spot. They're behind Will Kimmel, who right now is 4th in the running order.
Yeah, unfortunately for Suarez, I think he superheated those tires when he got the car sideways, and there won't be enough time, I think, to cool him down and get himself back in the hunt. But look there at Will Kimmel, that 69 car. He says, guys, I'm not done yet.
On board with Mason Mitchell, who works the outside. That's Suarez right behind him.
And I think what happened to Daniel Suarez right now is he complained early in the race. He said, I'm tight. And guess what? They freed him up. Now let's see if it burns in. It could come in as the tires get a little hotter. Here he comes.
But he's running out of time right now, Kenny. He's losing ground to the leaders. He may be able to gain a couple more positions, but we're down to only 5 laps to go.
Make it 4.5 as the leaders make their way down the back straightaway. The advantage for Brennan Poole, 0.2 of a second. These drivers you see here riding for the final position inside the top 5. Third is Cody Coughlin. 4th right now is Mason Mitchell, and Will Kimmel in that red machine is 5th.
This Cody Coughlin in this Jegs car is so young. He's got to stay focused. He's got to look ahead of him. Don't look in the mirror, Cody. Don't look in the mirror. Just stay digging.
This is his 10th start of the year. He's finished top 10 in 6 of his previous 9, and his career best 5th on the last 1.5 miles at Chicagoland Speedway, but he just saw Mason Mitchell drive around him on the outside.
But that was a mature move. Somebody had to tell Cody to let him go. He's got a career run going on here. He had a great run earlier this year. And it looks like slowing up a little bit.
3 laps remaining. Mason Mitchell now up to 3rd. Will Kimmel trying to pick up another spot. that red 69. Daniel Suarez right there as well, trying to pick up a top 5 finish and his first ever start in the ARCA Racing Series.
Good battle back there, you like to say, for 3rd, 4th, and 5th. 6th. What I'm kind of watching still is what's going on up front. Brandon Poole has been able to get himself a little bit bigger lead. Now we're down to 2 to go.
The advantage for Brennan Poole. With 2 laps remaining, 0.8 of a second. He has started to pull away from 2nd place, Matt Tift.
3 to go. 3 to go. They're telling Cody Coughlin, here comes Danielle. 2 to go now. They're telling him, here comes Daniel Suarez and Will Kimmel.
And as these drivers battle into turns 3 and 4, the leaders come off of turn 4. White flag in the air. Brennan Poole 1.5 miles away from victory tonight at Kentucky. He's made 6 starts in 2014, talking about Brennan Poole. 6th or better in 4 of those starts. Running a limited schedule this season because they couldn't find funding. And when he's not racing, he's spending time at the shop, perhaps spotting at the track. Anything he can do to stay around the competition. His patience going to pay dividends tonight. For the 6th time in his career, Brennan Poole gets the checkered flag in the ARCA Racing Series presented by Menards.
Great run by that 15 car. And it all started because of a really solid pit stop early on in the race and got him back up there toward the front. He was able to hang on.
I must say, this was a great race. Highly entertained. Finish wasn't close, but Jeff, they were side by side the whole night.
They really were.
Matt Tift ends up finishing in the 2nd position. Mason Mitchell goes a long way in clinching the ARCA Racing Series championship. He was 3rd tonight. He leaves here with a 200-point advantage over Grant Enfinger, who lost an engine early in the race. Cody Coughlin, career best 4th, and Daniel Suarez, in his debut in the ARCA Racing Series, comes home 5th here this evening.
A moment ago, they're showing you on top of the pit box. That was Matt Weber, his crew chief. Everybody down there pretty much pumped up for a great run again by this young man who wasn't even expected to be inside this car this week.
Well, and as he celebrates on the front straightaway, it reminds me just how deep the field was here tonight. And you found that out as you walked through the garage. And the one guy we really didn't talk about because of all the championship implications and new faces competing here this evening was Brennan Poole. But the driver who has experience, not just competing but winning, goes out tonight and gets the checkered flag. Post-race reaction when we continue from Kentucky Speedway. Great having you with us tonight for the Zloop 150 here on Fox Sports 1. Yes, I am wearing a tie, but tonight I do not get a trophy. He does. You guys mentioned it. Brennan Poole, for the 6th time in his career, he has got a checkered flag in the ARCA Racing Series presented by Menards. First time he's been to the Kentucky Speedway, and he's able to do exactly what he came here to do. 16th driver to win in the Bluegrass, an ARCA competition. Last time he won, it was a year ago at Springfield. And as he was celebrating in the ARCA garage, we had a fight break out between, and this is a little bit unconfirmed, but Josh Williams, the names we heard were Josh Williams and Mason Mitchell that got together in the garage.
Now, Kenny and I saw Josh Williams pushing Mitchell's car sideways through the garage area, and then all of a sudden they said Mitchell got out of his car, Williams got out of his car, and they had an altercation.
And it's amazing because Mason Mitchell finished inside the top 5 tonight. He was 3rd. The man who was trying to run him down in the championship, Grant Enfinger, had engine problems, and with 1 race to go, Mitchell now leads the title fight by 200 points. We'll break that down later. Now let's go to Victory Lane and Jim Trado.
Just 7 races this year. It started out as 0 races for Brennan Poole, but look what he's done. He's won here at Kentucky Speedway. Career victory number 6. Adam Alexander chronicled how this young man waiting for the opportunity. He and a really good friend of his, Billy Venturini, in an embrace here. Oh, he's got the Venturini kiss too. Nothing like a win to celebrate and make the most of an opportunity, Brennan Poole. How did you guys do it? You said the car was tight all night.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. These guys did it. I think that God gave me some angels tonight. He was pushing this baby because, man, we were struggling in practice. But Matt, my crew chief, Weber, did a great job, man. Unbelievable job. A lot of people's had doubts in him, and he stepped to the plate and we got to victory lane. So I just want to thank Zaxby's. They've supported me all year, and they've really believed in me as much as they believe in John West. It's been an honor to race with them and help John West out. And I feel so blessed. Can't thank Victory Motorsports enough. All these crew guys are awesome. Joe Gibbs Racing Engines, everybody involved with this team. Zloop, I want to thank Zloop so much for putting on this race because, man, I never thought I'd be in victory lane in Kentucky. This is awesome.
From a dirt kid running modifieds in Texas to this opportunity, talk about your win at Michigan and how big this one is compared to that one.
Man, this is unbelievable. Michigan was really special for me. Billy Venturini asked me, what are a couple ARCA races you want to win? I told him Michigan was #1 on my list. We got that last year. And then to win a dirt race, I won a dirt race. And then to win a track at Bruton Smith. You know, I've never raced a Bruton Smith track on a big stage like this, so this is just incredible. I can't believe to be in victory lane here. Kentucky's awesome. I remember being a little kid racing legend cars right out there on a little track and going to victory lane. So to be here today in the ARCA series, just incredible, mind blown.
Brandon Poole's excited. He has every right to be winner here at Kentucky Speedway in the Zloop 150.
Thank you, Jim. And now our unofficial points with 19 of 20 races complete. In 2014, we talked early on about the issues for Grant Enfinger. He comes home tonight in the 30th position, and with that leaves here 200 points behind Mason Mitchell in the championship fight.
I would say right now Mason Mitchell should be pretty happy, pretty comfortable going into Kansas here next week, because I don't think he can be caught. Should be a really easy, I think, and fun race for those guys.
Mason Mitchell making headlines for 2 different reasons following tonight's race. Let's hear from him. Down to Caitlin.
Thank you, Adam. Well, Mason, a little altercation there with Josh Williams in that 6 car at the end of the race. What happened?
I'm not real sure, to be honest. We were all just coming in here to the back here in the garage area and went to turn, and we weren't able to make the turn, so I started backing up, and the next thing I know, my rear end's 5 feet off the ground. So he said I wasn't paying attention, but it is what it is. I'm not worried about that. We have a really fast car tonight and finished 3rd. I think we could have been a little bit better. I think we could have battled for the win there. Just didn't have the best restart, but can't thank Thermal Technology Services, Musselman's Applesauce, Wildlife Financial Florida, my whole family, and everybody for supporting me so long.
Entering Kentucky, you had a 50-point cushion over Grant Enfinger. Leaving tonight, you have a 200-point lead over you. You have this thing pretty much locked up.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. He had issues. I like to race guys hard to the end, but stuff happens. It's part of racing, and we can't relax at all. We just got to keep on digging hard and try to get a win at Kansas.
Mason Mitchell finishing 3rd here at Kentucky. Adam?
He has been the model of consistency. We talked about he's only got 1 win. Came at Chicagoland Speedway 6 times. He has been a runner-up in 2014, and tonight an opportunity to put a big nail in the coffin when it comes to the championship. And 3rd is where he ended up this evening. You see the unofficial results, top of your screen, as we look back at round 19 tonight.
I want to go back to Mason Mitchell. That man should not be upset. You can tell in his face. He had a beautiful race. He's leading the championship. Little altercation in the pits. What I say to Mason is, hey, you bring your own friends to the racetrack. Don't worry about that other driver.
No, I'm with you on that. He has had an outstanding year. He's doing what you have to do. He's been able to get to victory lane once, but you've already pointed out, he's been knocking on the door a whole lot. That consistency and that speed in qualifying has given him the opportunity to kind of build this point lead and enjoy that final race.
And you look at Brennan Poole. Here's a driver that's been on the outside looking in. Funding was not there, but he stayed with it, worked in the shop, did the little things, spent time on the spotter stand, and tonight his work pays big dividends as he gets another opportunity to celebrate victory. It comes at the Kentucky Speedway. And we talked a lot tonight about Daniel Suarez making his debut in the ARCA Racing Series. I would say it's a good one, Caitlin. He finished 5th.
You're absolutely right, Adam. You made your ARCA debut here today at Kentucky. Daniel, what did you think about this race?
It was good. It was fun. The first half of the race, we have an awesome race car. We were pretty fast, battling for the lead. We lead maybe 40 laps on the first half of the race. And then we pit for tires. We made some bad adjustments. I was being picky with my crew chief to try to be a little bit better, so we went 1 step back. And we get stuck a little bit in traffic, so that hurts us a lot. But I don't know, maybe a rookie mistake. We need to keep learning and see what happens for the next race.
Now, you're racing a lot of different series, but what can you say about the competition you saw here tonight in the ARCA series?
It's great. Definitely a lot of fast cars, a lot of cars. I'm very happy to have all this, learning process through this series. So far, it's just one race, but looking forward to do more races. We are going to be traveling tomorrow to Mexico to be in another race from NASCAR Toyota Series. We have three races left in the championship, so let's see what happens.
Daniel Suarez leaves Kentucky with the top 5 finish, guys.
The weekend just beginning for Daniel Suarez. More racing on the way. So it's Brennan Poole who gets the checkered flag in the Zloop 150. Thank you for being with us on Fox Sports 1. For Caitlin Vincey, Jim Trado on pit road, Jeff Hammond and Kenny Wallace by my side. I'm Adam Alexander. It's time for Fox Sports Live. Here's Jay and Dan from Los Angeles.